Welcome to the Honest Field Guide podcast, a weekly show dedicated to winning in entrepreneurship. I'm your host, JinJa Birkenbeuel. I'm the CEO of Burt Creative, a leadership, brand strategy, and visual identity agency dedicated to helping scale brands and assist with their adaptability with the market. On my show, you get to eavesdrop in on intimate conversation with business leaders and inspired entrepreneurs, designed to give you tips and strategies so your own business can thrive. Subscribe and join me each week for laughter, inspiration, and honest stories. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my show, the Honest Field Guide podcast. So glad you're here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you're not sick of me saying this. I really hope not. For those of you that are regulars to listening to my show, you could be anywhere in the world, but you've come to listen to my show, the Honest Field Guide podcast. And I am so grateful for that. And I would love it if you could leave a review of my show on Apple Podcasts, because you know what? Apple is I know Spotify has great podcasts and they're really amazing too. iHeartRadio and all the places you listen to podcasts. However, leaving a review on Apple for some reason is really amazing. So would you please consider leaving a review, because it's always great, not only for my show, but also for my guests. And today, back on my show, the Honest Field Guide podcast. And by the way, you can find my show on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Where else can you find my show? So many places, the Honest Field Guide. YouTube, definitely YouTube has some great stuff there. But anyway, I have on my show again an amazing entrepreneur woman. Her name is Mary Nisi. And we've actually had many shows in the past, and we've always had a great time. And my main thing about having Mary on my show is that we talk politics. We love talking about politics, because between the two of us, we are so off the rails, but not in a bad way. We're not unhinged in the way that some people were recently. Yeah. On TV. We're not like that. Okay. We're not like that.
No, we're not eating cats and dogs.
We're not doing that. But we do love to kind of like let this flow and just talk about things. And it's unscripted. And that's why my show is the Honest Field Guide podcast. So we kind of just let it loose. Okay. So Mary Nisi, she's amazing. I love her. She is the founder and DJ for her own company called Toast and Jams DJs, which is amazing because, of course, you all know that I have my own company, Burt Creative, as well. So both of us are entrepreneurs. But here's what I'm going to do a little bit differently. I normally read a bio about people before they come on. If you've listened to some of the past shows, you'll know already about Mary. But I'm going to read a new bio about Mary. Yes. I'm reading a new bio about you, Mary. And then I'm going to make you come on and say hello.
Okay.
So check this out. Okay. Mary Nisi. This is a brand new bio. Mary Nisi is a multifaceted entrepreneur and creative professional based in Chicago. She is best known as the founder and CEO of Toast and Jam, a DJ company she established in 2005. Nisi's career has spanned various fields, including radio, DJing, podcasting, and business consulting. Here's a few career highlights. Radio and DJing. Mary Nisi started her career in community radio and transitioned into DJing when she was a listener requesting her services for a wedding. She is a founding member of the Chicago Independent Radio Project and hosts the Noonday Underground on Chirp Radio, which is CHIRPradio.org. Toast and Jam is another highlight. Nisi founded Toast and Jam in 2005, aiming to provide entertainment that enhances events without overshadowing them. The company has provided music for numerous high-profile events, including those for Barack and Michelle Obama, Valerie and Laura Jarrett, and Vince Vaughn. Podcasting. Mary hosts a podcast, All Up in My Lady Business, where she explores the challenges of being a working mom and entrepreneur. And then this goes on for some more things related to her other ventures and skills, consulting, beekeeping, public speaking. She describes herself as a backyard beekeeper. And there's also some information about her personal background. You're probably wondering right now, where did you get this information, JinJa?
1,000%. Did you do it through ChatGPT?
I did not.
Really?
No, I did not do it through ChatGPT. I'll give you one more guess. Where I did a search. One more guess.
Oh, Bing?
Nope. Nope.
What? Where?
Nope.
Tell me. Tell me.
Nope. It's an generative AI search called Perplexity AI.
Is this a wait? Is
you
this
made
an
it to.
Is this
you
an
made
MLM? So right now, are you trying to sell me on something?
No, I'm not. But you made it to Perplexity. That's really awesome. You got to check it out.
Perplexity?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Perplexity. You know what? Let me just let everybody know. Perplexity is where knowledge begins. That's the first thing that you get to on the page when you go there. And it's perplexity.ai. And I want to say that Perplexity is a new search engine that is going up against Google. And they're, I don't know if they're going to ever take down Google, but they could. But I think that the search results on Perplexity are actually pretty excellent. And if you've made it to Perplexity, then you know you've made it. And
wow.
I would say the same thing on ChatGPT as well, because that's another AI large language model. And they're incorporating all kinds of tools within ChatGPT now. But everyone's not in ChatGPT. Like, I remember doing a vanity search of myself in ChatGPT when it first started, and I was shocked to see my name in there. I was like, "Oh my God, are you serious? I'm in ChatGPT already."
So they're not Googling it?
Nope, it's Perplexity AI. Go to it right now.
I can't. I'm on this thing with you.
Oh, you're on this thing. You can't go to the. What kind of an entrepreneur are you that you can't go on a search engine, tool while you're on Riverside?
I'm trying to be in the moment, JinJa. I'm trying to give you the respect and focus.
Thank you. I need respect and focus. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Well, anyway, it's pretty amazing. Perplexity AI. And if you type in anything that you need to know, you will get pretty accurate information. Did anything I say, did anything I read, was anything totally wrong? Like, what was wrong?
Nothing was wrong. It was all accurate. It's hard to hear that many nice things about me all in a row. And literally, I spent like 45 minutes talking about that with my therapist yesterday. My inability to take compliments.
I guess like what I love about what I've read is I had no idea that you worked with Valerie Jarrett. I did not know you worked with Vince Vaughn. I don't think that comes like this. Perplexity AI actually summarizes a lot of information. So it's not like going to Google where you get served a gazillion links and you have to go through each link to find the answer. Like Perplexity actually gives you a summary of things. But also what I love about this is like, and this is important for entrepreneurs. Okay. So the reason that you're on this website, right, this platform, this artificial intelligence search platform, is that you've been a very good steward of your online profile. Like you have been putting out content, not only with your podcast, All Up in My Lady Business, but you're doing work on social media. You're sharing content in other places. And that's why people can find you. And that's why you're on a place like that. So I think from a small business perspective, because, my show a lot of times is about small business, and we're definitely going to start talking about politics. But that's why it's on there. And so I feel like everybody needs to really recognize that there's no longer a world where word of mouth marketing works. It just doesn't work anymore. You have to be like word of online. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it still works, but not exclusively, I'm trying to say. I mean, not exclusively. Like you can't just have word of mouth. Like you have to have stuff that's out there online for people to be able to find you. That's really what I mean by that. That's what I mean. And, these new AI tools are, they're giving Google a run for their money. And I'm glad they're doing that because, it's not fair that Google can have all the good stuff. They can't have all the icing on the cake.
No, they really can't.
So anyway, listen, I wonder what would happen if I typed in, what if I typed in Kamala Harris? What would I get?
You would get too much. My question to you, though, is are you like a paid, like sleeper spy for Perplexity? Like girl, you just gave them the greatest.
I would like to be a paid speaker for Perplexity. That would be so beautiful.
Well,
because I would be. I mean, can you hire me, Perplexity? Here I am, the one that you love.
Very highly perplexifying. What do you do? Is it a perplex? Is it like, oh, let me fi that perplexify? I don't know.
What the? No.
Well, if you're Googling things, like, are you perplexing? Yeah. Are you?
What? That's so funny. That is so funny to hear that I'm Googling something on Perplexity. That is crazy. That is crazy. I mean, you're right. So what is the word?
Yeah, no, it's marketing is just caving in on itself.
I swear it is.
Marshall McLuhan is rolling over in his grave.
Well, okay, so let's talk about politics, because now that I've gotten your bio out of the way.
Yes.
And it was not a bio that you provided to me, which is usually what happens on my show. So there's a couple things I want to talk about in the political space. I want to first talk about some local politics.
Okay.
Our favorite person, Brandon Johnson, Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago. I also want to talk about the convention because you were at the Democratic National Convention, which is so amazing and huge to me. I want to talk about this absolutely ridiculous debate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to just talk about some other random things. Like I do want to talk about the white woman voter and what's wrong with her. I want to talk about that in the context of what happened last time. And then I also want to understand why, in God's name, after everything that's happened, after everything that we've seen and learned,
How Trump still has voters.
what in the God? Yes. So let's not start there because this is gonna. We're not going down that rabbit hole yet. Okay, come on. That's gonna sink us. We're gonna sink. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's first talk about let's do a local political thing. And okay. So Mayor Brandon Johnson still. I'm going to be honest. Like, you don't live in Chicago anymore, which is, you moved out for a multitude of reasons. And hey, if I would love to in some ways move out too. I can't yet, but I'm thinking about it. But still, like, there used to be a time in Chicago, I swear to God, where you felt like your leadership was world class. Like you just felt like your leader could be on the world stage and represent so many things and be classy and elegant. And I'm not.
Who was that? Who was that person?
Okay, don't put me on the spot like that. I'm just.
I mean, is it? I guess my question is: when you say you think of people as world class, are you talking about the Daly years? Are you talking about Rahm? Are you talking about like a Tony Preckwinkle? Like what are you thinking about? I feel like I am thinking about Daly. I am thinking about Rahm. I'm even thinking about Lori Lightfoot. I mean, Mayor Lightfoot, she somehow was able to get, even if it was just a damn meme, she was able to be out there and be spoken about in ways that really transcended just the office of the, mayor of the city of Chicago. I feel like Mayor Johnson, by comparison, I don't feel like he's out of the neighborhood. Like he's still, and that maybe that's not a bad thing, but Chicago is such a gigantic city, and it's so important. Like I'm sitting here, like I just did a search on Google. Maybe I should try Perplexity. And the first thing that comes up is aldermen call on Mayor Johnson aide to resign over social media posts and her comment about the police, the Chicago police. Ugh. Chicago mayor's top aide under fire as Johnson's approval ratings decline. He put someone in place that said some terrible things about the Chicago Police Department, and the number one job of a mayor is public safety. Like literally, like that's the first job that they're supposed to be responsible for. Another thing, 23 hours ago, Chicago Sun-Times, and the first two, by the way, Chicago Tribune, NBC, WBZ. This one is from the Sun-Times. Brandon Johnson, a woefully unprepared mayor, city council critic says. That's a headline. I mean, so here's, I am actually a Lori Lightfoot stan. I think I might be the only one. Oh no, you like her too? Mm-hmm. I mean, I
love her.
I loved her. You know what? The thing about Lori, I feel like Lori and Brandon get sort of similar criticism. And, Brandon Johnson, no, you don't think?
No, but go ahead. I'm listening.
I mean, I'm saying this as somebody, I live in Evanston, which is just barely outside of Chicago, but it is outside of Chicago. Brandon Johnson got voted in. The election was literally like a month after I moved. So I didn't even, I wasn't even a part of that election cycle. Mm-hmm. But I think that both of them were given raw ends of the stick. And I can't help but to think, and I can't believe I'm saying this to a Black woman, but I sort of feel like they're getting graded on a different curve because they're Black. Mm-hmm. And I think that he came in as, this sort of, community, organizer, like a ramshackle Obama. I think not ramshackle, but kind of like a lower.
Let's not say ramshackle.
Is that a bad word?
Oh, I don't know. It just doesn't sound right. Ramshackle. Ramshackle.
Yeah, I bet you.
We don't want that.
It's like accidentally, like a slavery term or something.
I'm going to look up on Perplexity. Go ahead, continue. I'm listening.
I mean, I just feel like I feel like he gets no respect, and I don't think he's not trying. Like, I don't think he's not angry. He's not like running around blaming other people for the issues. The city of Chicago is a broken fucking thing. And I will tell this to you.
Okay, we're gonna bleep that out because I'm trying to get good listeners on our show.
Okay, bleep me out. But I think so. As somebody who's left,
yeah.
But I'm still in the city all the time because my office. I still work in the city. I'm there at least 4 days a week rather. I'm there 4 days a week at a bare minimum. There is a like a Stockholm syndrome that is going on in Chicago when it comes to what we are willing to put up with. And like, I mean, just being in Evanston, like everything is just like, you know, like your tax, like I'm paying a lot of money in taxes, but I see the benefits of it. And I barely saw the benefits of my tax dollars at work in Chicago. And the corruption is so multi-layered and deep. I mean, you know, like in order to like unravel the corruption, I promise you that there are a lot of people in Chicago whose entire income is based off of corruption. Like they just like happen to be the guy that is the supplier for paper to town hall. And he also is on the take on something else. Like it's so deep that anybody coming into that position is going to be, I mean, they're going to like, I need 4 years just to like unravel that, but they can't because they're getting shit thrown at them the second they walk in the door. And so like, I don't think that he is being given a fair shake. It just doesn't feel like he's being given a fair shake. And I don't think.
So what about, I mean, I guess the person he appointed, they should have done a little more vetting, I guess is my point.
Appointed for what?
This person was put
Was
in.
Was this the person that said something on Twitter or whatever? What did they say? What did they do?
This is someone, Kennedy Bartley. They unearthed something that she said years ago, and she referenced Chicago police as the pigs.
Okay.
And I know you're just like, and
yeah, they are. Keep going.
I know exactly. And that's what's actually happening. And it's just a bad look because there's a couple reasons. One, the Chicago Police Department, as all police departments across the country, are having a very challenging time with recruiting. And so, you know, having somebody in a public office that doesn't seem supportive of the Chicago Police Department and their number one responsibility to the city residents is, you know, to actually, you know, have really incredible public safety is kind of, you know, disturbing and unfortunate. And I just feel like before you hire someone, and tell me this, Mary, when you hire someone to work for you, don't you kind of do like a peripheral search of this person to see like who you're actually bringing into your company to meet and public face with clients? What? Well, okay, you're not a mayor. You're not a mayor. Okay.
So the thing is, though, is that I guess I would rather have somebody who was like, who did say, yeah, 15 years ago, they put a thing on Twitter that said they were pigs, because that would give that person then an opportunity to say, yeah, I did say that then. And here's the reason why I said it was that, you know, my friends were beat up by a cop on the street, and I never knew I was going to be in public office eventually. But in that moment, I did feel like the cops were pigs because I wasn't being taken care of in that moment. And I still don't know if it were to happen again, I would like to think that things would be different. And if they're not, then Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, that's okay. I feel like that is the answer to that.
Well, let me just read to you what she said.
Okay.
And I'll continue to bleep out your F-bombs.
Sorry, I can't help myself.
I mean, it's like, you know, have you seen the meme with Vice President Harris where they're like, what's your favorite? What's your favorite? And then they put that where she was like barely referring to Trump as, you know, oh my God, that was
former president.
That was so good. I love her. But here's what Kennedy Bartley said. So she joined the mayor's office in May of 2024. NBC5 unearthed remarks she made during a 2020 Instagram Live where she referred to the police officers as, quote, slave catchers. Quote, I don't want to call officers workers. You know,
You mean, was this around George Floyd?
Wait, listen. Like as you beautifully framed us, police officers are slave catchers, not workers, Bartley said in an Instagram live with Defund CPD during October 2020. Bartley, formerly an activist and the executive director of United Working Families, also made comments about abolition and defunding the police during a May 2021 podcast called This Is Your Afterlife, as first reported by Fox 22. Quote, if I die, especially at the hands of the effing pigs, like don't name S after me, you know, like I don't want a piece of legislation named after me, a road, none of that S, Bartley said in the podcast. In the same 2021 interview, she also said, it's frustrating to me that like SHIT, man, like the police lynch black folks every day, you know, shoot black folks down and brown folks every day in the street. The mayor defended Bartley as a top 8 on Thursday. So, I mean, it's
none of that seems questionable to me.
Okay.
Does it to you?
Tell me why. No, I want to put you on the hot seat. Tell me why, because I really want to hear what you have to say about this.
Well,
and you know, just remember my perspective is like my company, Burke Creative, which is legally named Burke Design. I specialize in brand reputation management. Okay. Like I literally spend my entire time when I work with clients to research and look for threats and opportunities,
sure,
and what is going to tank you and what's going to help you win. Like I do that as part of a normal course of what I do. Okay. So I have a lens. That's my lens.
Okay. So through that lens, yeah, they probably should have figured that one out before they hired her, just at the bare minimum to get ahead of it, to get ahead of it. But the thing is that, okay, so put it in context. That was all post George Floyd. Okay. So there's a different, everyone is talking and thinking differently about the police than they have. I personally, I felt differently about the cops after George Floyd. And I think that I hope that I don't get busted by this podcast I'm doing right now, but I don't think she was saying anything that's not true. You know, the police department did come. The police system as we know it was slave catch. It came out of catching slaves. I mean, that's a fact. That is truth. And when things have that kind of thing in their basic fibers, like it is hard to unweave that from the fabric. So she's not wrong. And she's saying them, in my opinion, as a reaction to very real things that happened. And you know, I do like that there is legislation personally after George Floyd because he, you know, or just anything named after him. Like he was a wildly impactful human being, despite the fact he'll never know about it. But I do think that she should have been given an opportunity to explain why. Because I feel like filling your cabinet with a bunch of people who are like, the police have always been good for me. Or even if they haven't, I've got to put a good face on because heaven forbid the cops feel any kind of criticism, because I have the times I've had to deal with the police personally, it's never worked. Like I was burglarized, they never found my stuff, you know, like I
was robbed.
Yeah, I was. My office was robbed. They stole
everything. I'm not laughing at you, but I'm just trying to make the jump from, you know, what we were just talking about to the fact that you were robbed. It's like, you know, I mean, it's just wild. And you know, again, I just feel like we're in a time right now. We're in an extraordinary time of pain and suffering and eating dogs and cats, you know, and just
those
racism and just, I mean, just all these horrible things. And I just think like, I'm not saying to be safe, but I am saying there's certain things you don't need to leave yourself open for. Like you just like,
she
it's almost
clearly never thought she was going to work in government.
I mean, that's kind of the other thing too. I mean, really? So I guess for my perspective, we are no longer in the 80s. We have cell phones and mobile devices everywhere. We have recording devices everywhere. We have ways to share everything, and it's never, ever going to go away. It just doesn't, right? Like, I was telling someone yesterday when I was at my gym working out, you know, do you know that your mobile devices, even if you have your phone off, it's still recording your location. You have to take the battery out. Did you know that facial recognition software on your phone. Not only does it, open your phone when you look at the phone, but it's actually tracking your eye movement. I mean, there's just, there's recording devices happening when you don't even know it on your phone. So like, how can you be in any type of whether you're in politics or in business, you have to be aware that there's someone always listening, and it's really because of the mobile technologies that we have on our body all the time. But I definitely want to move on to another conversation.
Yeah. I mean,
because, we could spend a lot of time talking about this, but I now want to kind of move to, I want to move to the convention briefly, because you went to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago at United Center. And, I was like, oh my God, Mary is there in the most historical moment that I like since Obama, right? You're there in this excitement. Like, what was it like being at the convention during the Democratic National Convention at United Center? What was the vibe? What was the feeling? Like, I saw images on camera and people were crying. Like, what was it like? Please share like your physical response to all of it.
I want to clarify why I was there. So I just signed up to volunteer with the DNC when the convention was announced here. I signed up to be a volunteer. So I just wanted to be there. I didn't care what I was doing. I didn't whatever. And I signed up before Kamala came in. And so I think I got prioritized as on the higher, people that actually, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with coming in once Kamala got in there, but I was like, I'm going to be a part of the slog of democracy. Like I was a bit of not reluctant, but I was
this is like when Joe Biden was still,
this is still when Biden was supposed to be the nominee. And so then once Kamala came in, it was like, and they even said people that did it before Joe got better jobs. And so
what now? Wait, go back. You're saying that people signed up when Joe, they got better jobs?
Well, they said that you got prioritized as a volunteer.
Because you weren't a hanger-on, or you weren't like a celebrity chaser.
Yeah, you weren't just coming in because they were basically
the first black.
They were rewarding me for being for coming in on the white guy. So and then my background check got me so that I was a dedicated driver for VIPs was my job. So they gave me an SUV and I drove the delegation.
What? Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
What?
And
you had an SUV and you were driving people?
Yeah, I was driving.
So
around.
wait, hold on. Like, you're in an SUV driving VIPs. Were you able to talk to these VIPs, or did you have to be like the silent driver?
Well, so when we were doing the training, which is a whole other fucking thing, which I would love to talk about. We've got so many things we're trying to get to today. I'm not going to get to it. But when they were doing the training, they were like, only speak to them if they speak to you for it was kind of this sort of and I think it sort of depended on the VIP.
Don't fraternize with the talent. Exactly. Well, that's like it.
It's kind of like if Chuck Schumer gets into the back of the car and he's on a phone call, don't try to get a selfie with him, was kind of what they were saying. And so I was assigned the delegation of the Americans from abroad. So these are people that live outside the U.S., making sure that people who live outside the U.S. still have voting rights, know the process to get their absentee ballot and getting those, because it's crazy. It's 9 million people qualify as Americans from abroad that can still vote in U.S. elections. They just have to vote in the last state they lived in before they left. So they do a lot of outreach to try to get people to know that. Okay, so those are my people. So
wait, let me ask you this. I mean, I love hearing about the tactics, but when you applied and you got the email that said yes, and you're just like, oh my God, this is so great. How did you feel about that? And then once you found out what your role was, what was that experience like for you? Was it surreal? Was it surreal, or was it just
it was more I don't know what's going to happen. It was more I mean, I knew that there were hundreds of people that were volunteering. So I was excited, but I wasn't it's not like I got assigned them when I was there. It wasn't like I was told in advance what I was getting. And it was also kind of shifting. It was I kept getting phone calls even after I was assigned to them where they're like, hey, we need another VIP driver, because not everybody had the same background check. So I had a background check that got me in with closer to people.
I wonder what your background check said that you were able to get that versus somebody else.
I've had to do because I did all that DJing for the Jarrett family and for the Obamas. Oh, so I don't know if,
that's probably part of it.
Already,
yep. Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they looked at my Instagram feed.
But you also were at something with Senator um,
Harris, like when
no,
Kamala was,
not Harris. The
Liz
senator.
Warren?
Yes, you were with Senator Warren, like years ago.
Yeah, that was also with Harris. That picture of me with Harris and Warren. That was.
Yeah, but wasn't there one before that, or was that the one I'm thinking of?
I've only met.
Okay, so that was the one.
I only met Liz Warren once.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Like
Liz.
it's just like I know.
Liz.
So like you have that, but I mean also, Mary, I think like the reason that we first met was we were at a fundraiser for Senator Foster.
No, Sean Cannon. It was Sean. She was Sean.
I'm sorry.
Caston.
You know what? That's the next. I always do the same thing. Like that was the
They're
next one I
basically
went
the same
to.
guy, so.
I feel like they are the same guy. So we were at something with Caston, and I feel like you've been involved in politics for a very long time. So it's not like you just suddenly got this ability to like this opportunity to like ride VIPs in an SUV to the Democratic National Convention. Like you've actually been very present, and they have records of you even donating and raising money. So you even speaking truth to power. Like I feel like that's what you're really good at. You know what I mean? And you don't really worry about consequence around it, which is a very powerful place to be in. So no, it really is. It honestly is like I
never thought about it that way, but you're right. I mean,
no, but but I think that has something to do with it as well, along with a background check. Like, oh yeah, she's been in the presence of these great women, so we don't have to worry about Mary Nisi, right? I mean, don't you think that's a big part of it?
I would like to think that it's more that has something to do with it, that factors in. But I mean, there were a lot of us that were in that pool of people that were driving people around.
I think it's very cool though. So then you're dropping people off at their hotels or whatever.
This is actually a funny story. So I picked them up and I was driving them to a diplomat who lives in Lincoln Park. They were doing a fundraiser and like Art Smith was the caterer and like.
Oh wow! So isn't that Oprah's favorite chef?
It sure is. He was the chef for the Obamas when they were in the White House. But when we were driving up there, I'm just like being quiet and just like not engaging. And they were complaining that they had bought these hats to wear for the roll call, but they had black hat bands on them and they wish they had blue. And I'm like, I'm listening to you guys. And I'm a bit of a crafty lady. There's a craft store that's not too far from here. Like because I was just dropping them off, and then I had to literally just sit there and wait for them to come out. I'm like, I can run to the craft store and get you supplies to make that dream a reality. And they're like, you do that? I'm like, yeah. So they're like, we'll pay you back. And they did. But, so I dropped them off at this fundraiser and I went to Joann and I bought like blue grosgrain ribbon and a hot glue gun and, hat pins. And, and then they were like, said something about snacks. I'm like, I can get you snacks too. And they're like, we don't live in America and we can't get access to crappy American candy. So I like went to Target and I bought them like Reese's Pieces and, and I just was, because at my heart, I'm just like taking care of people. I just like to like kind of surprise
you're a beekeeper. The fact that you take care of bees is all anybody needs to know. I mean, seriously.
Well, but I'm also like a customer service, like behemoth. Like I'm amazing in a party situation. So
do you want a job? Do you want a job in the administration?
Yeah.
Seriously, let's cut to the chase. What do you want? Okay, tell me what you want. Speak it.
Oh, I don't what would I want?
Yeah, wait. Why would you not want a job in the administration? Like doing something. Why not? You could like what?
Well, I don't know what would happen to my 8 million businesses I have here. But
so you have to move to DC temporarily, and then once you do that, you do the job that you're doing, and then you leave, and then once you leave, you end up like making even more money and having more opportunities and spreading what you know and being much more successful. Honest to God,
if there was a job,
everybody that's ever left to go work in the White House has left the White House in a super powered position.
Yeah. Well, if I were to, now I've never thought about this, but if I were
okay, well, let's say it. Let's just put it out. Yes.
I don't really feel, and I know you'll amen me on this one, but like, I just don't feel like real small businesses are a priority for the federal government. And they pay lip service to it, and they act like small businesses are the engine that run this.
The 8A certification program has been shut down again. Which is 8A. The 8A.
Oh,
it's a program designed for small business to help small businesses do contract with the federal government. And it was shut down the first time because there was a white woman that sued and said that she didn't get enough opportunity through the 8A certification against black businesses, and they shut it down because of her. And then they reopened it, but then it's shut down again. They're not taking any more applicants. And I agree with you.
What does it do?
It's supposed to so 8A certification. Anybody that wants to know can go on Perplexity and look up 8A certification. I am not anti-Google. I'm just saying we need choice. I believe in choice. I believe in choice for women, choice for everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, but if you look it up, so what it does is it helps. There's certain contracts that are designed specifically for businesses that have been certified as AA. And these are very small businesses that have not done work with the federal government, but they need to do work with the federal government to compete and to make money and to build their wealth. And the program is literally designed for small businesses, because just think about this. The military contracts with companies like Raytheon and Boeing, and those are billion and trillion dollar contracts. Small businesses can't compete on a $1 billion contract, but they can compete on contracts that are maybe $50 million or $25 million or $150 million.
But even that's a ridiculous number that most small businesses aren't hitting. Most small businesses aren't in a position. I'm not in a position to do work with the federal government unless I'm going to DJ their effing parties. Like I don't.
Yeah, and there's actually there's actually NAICS codes that set you up as with DJ codes, and they can basically call you up.
I mean, it's interesting. It's I see. This is you're actually
there is. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you what the NAICS code is.
There's no NAICS code for DJ, and I will tell you.
There's a NAICS code. There's a NAICS code for music. I have it. I have a NAICS code.
But
what?
You're what for music? Just that you're a band that exists as a band?
No, I'm gonna do this right now.
It's JinJa. Okay. It is shocking to me that you brought up NAICS code, because NAICS codes are actually, they are my bête noire. They are the thing that drives me up. There isn't a NAICS code for DJ. There isn't a NAICS code for DJ company. My NAICS code is independent artists, which is I am not an independent artist, and that right there is the reason why I don't feel like the federal government cares about small businesses. $50 million. Well,
I mean, but a performer. Okay,
but
that's a NAICS code. That's a NAICS code I have, and it fits underneath that umbrella.
But I have a company that trains DJs, brings them in, has specific event ways of doing things. They're not independent contractors. Like it is, they don't. When you start bringing up contracts for $50 million, my eyes glaze over, because that's not. All
right. So let me ask you that. Let me go back to my original question. So you're saying if you were to work for the White House, if they were to call you, what would you want to do? Like, this is what you'd want to do?
I would like to be a liaison with the government and businesses that are like under 100 people that gross between 0 and 3 million, because those businesses are way more normal and what businesses are than some business trying to get a $50 million contract that they're competing with Raytheon over.
So what would the liaison role look like? What would the liaison do? What would be the primary role and responsibility of the liaison?
I'm making this up right now. I've literally put no thought into
this
whatsoever.
Let's do it. Because you know what? When you get this job, you're going to bring me too, and we're going to both do this together. But go ahead, I'm listening.
So so when I started Toast and Jam, I went to everyone told me, go to the Women's Business Development Center, because they've got all these resources for people for women who are starting businesses. And I remember I made my appointment and I went and met with this lady. She was probably, she was older. She was probably in her 60s. And she had a long career as a woman who had, clawed her way up that lap. Sorry, can I stop the F-bombs?
But there's going to be a lot of bleeps on this show.
So she had climbed her way up the ladder. Mm-hmm. My shirt has swear words on it.
I know, right?
Bleep my shirt out. So this lady, and I feel like so much of women in business, it's always like how to make it in the C-suite. Again, not every business is C-suite-y, whatever. But anyway, so she was like, well, let's look up the NAICS code for your business so that I know how to talk to you about your business. And I'm like, oh, cool. What's a NAICS code? This will be fun. And couldn't find anything that was she was like, maybe you're an agency. And I'm like, well, I'm not an agency. and then she's like, well, maybe you are we were trying to find something that applied, and nothing applied. And that was when we came up with independent artists, and that's what my accountants always use and everything.
That's in proximity, right? In proximity, what you do.
The thing is that at the time they were independent because they were 1099. But even that, managing a group of 1099 employees isn't a thing. if you have employees and they're 1099, then they should be W-2. Like there's
so then what would your
hold on. So she's like, I don't have a NAICS code for you that really lines up, so I don't know how to help you. And it made me leave. She like didn't know how to help me. And the NAICS code exists to tell you what kind of insurance you need, how the employees get classified, what kind of certifications you need. And none of that exists for this business. And it definitely didn't in 2003, but it still doesn't exist. And so as a result, I have all these other DJ companies out there. Most DJ companies have their DJs operating as 1099, but they shouldn't. They're on websites. They're given business cards. They're given email addresses. They're given training. They're being told where to go, what to do, how to dress, who they're performing for. So they are so far outside of the scope of what a 1099 is, but no one's busting them, which I mean, and I don't want anybody to get busted, but I have gotten audited. I have to operate like a real business. So when I got workers' comp insurance, I was the first DJ company that had ever tried to get workers' comp. And so my workers' comp was ridiculously expensive.
Bananas. Yeah.
And when, it's like, it was $26,000 a year.
So, I mean, what are you saying that you're going to do though? Are you saying that you're going to do what you're doing now? Like you would basically go on a roadshow and like talk about these things publicly and have workshops around it? Like, I guess, like how could you actually have, like, if you had a role like that you're making up, if you're creating a role in the White House as a small business liaison, what exactly would you do for that?
As a result of 2008, all these new businesses were Uber, Airbnb, all of these things that didn't exist. What was the sorry, I cannot stop with the F-bombs. But like,
it's okay.
What was the NAICS code for Uber?
Yeah.
What was the NAICS code for Airbnb? These things didn't exist, but there probably is one now.
Google didn't have a NAICS code either, but now they do.
And maybe we should explain. A NAICS code is the North American Industry Classification System. And so that's what NAICS stands for. And it's just a number that every job or business type has that tells people, in order to call yourself a therapist, you have to have a degree in therapy. You have to take this test. You've got to get this licensure. You have to put so many hours in.
Right. And there's also, like, when it comes to the federal government, contracts go out specifically designed for specific NAICS codes. And if you have that NAICS code, you're eligible to respond to an RFP from the federal government. With that NAICS code. So
every business needs to have those. There isn't one for mine. And so I have been at the front line doing all the things that are creating what should be regulation around what it means to have this job.
Right.
And so as a result, every other DJ company in Chicago has their DJs operating as a 1099 and I'm in W-2. That $1,000 that they're paying their DJ, like I'm also paying them $1,000, but I'm only paying them I'm paying them $800 because I'm covering that $200 of taxes that they're not putting us. You know what I mean? Like a 1099, for me to say I'm going to pay you $800, and they're like, well, but this company's giving me $1,000, and it's like
I think your idea around a small business liaison of some sort is kind of interesting because one of the things that Vice President Kamala Harris is always talking about is how one of her, crowning achievements, should she be elected to be the next president of the United States, is to focus and help small businesses and entrepreneurs, right?
But what does that mean? Is it to get people to compete for $50 million contracts within the U.S. government? Or is it to try to make it so that a business that's grossing, $1.2 million a year, but they're only netting, 5%.
Well, let me read this.
End of that.
Let me read this. Did you just hear when I press play on the YouTube? Did it show up on the recording? Okay, listen to this. Vice President Kamala Harris speaks on her small businesses plan at a North Carolina rally. This just was put on YouTube today, September 13th. Small business owners have long been an important base of votes for both parties. The issue itself has allowed them to appear friendly to business and good on the economy, while not appearing to favor big corporations and the rich executives who are often largely unpopular. But small business policy has largely remained the same, save for a few tax cuts and a little deregulation every now and then. Kamala Harris's proposal for a $50,000 tax deduction represents a seismic shift in this precedent and provides small business owners and voters a concrete policy to hold her to. The policy has been praised by many in the business community as being one of the most pro-business stances in a modern presidential platform. And here's the other thing I want to say about this. During her acceptance speech, and you were there.
No, I wasn't. I was only there on the Obama night.
Oh, you weren't? Okay, you weren't there. Okay, fine. So during her acceptance speech, and even prior to that, there was a woman that has a small business that was featured on stage, and she mentioned entrepreneurs and small businesses on stage. And I actually tweeted about it because I don't remember ever during any convention or anything like that. I've never heard a presidential candidate specifically mentioned the word entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship in any type of a speech. Mm-hmm. And I'd have to go back and look and maybe,
no, you're probably right.
But it jumped out at me, and I actually took a screen recording and I put it on my Instagram. I was like, oh my God, maybe it's time. Maybe they're actually going to do something to help us now. And so that's why when I was asking you, what would you like to do? I think while I do appreciate that we need to reach back into the NAICS codes to help small businesses, because my goodness, Google and Apple and Meta, they all got the NAICS codes they needed to run their businesses and to have access to federal contracts, and small businesses didn't. We do need to do that. But I also think if there's any way that there could be a champion of small businesses, not just the concept of small business, but a champion that says, look, we are going to ensure that we, not just through tax breaks, not through capital loans coming out from, Chase Bank or whatever. I'm sick and tired of loans. Like, I don't want a loan.
Too.
I want to make money. I want contracts to make money. But like, if there's somebody inside that actually can do this, and maybe, listen, Vice President Harris, she's a Black woman in America, and Black women are the number one small business people in America. Like, we have the most small businesses, and there's a lot of reasons behind that we won't talk about it now. Aside from the fact that we are faced with a barrage of microaggressions in corporate America, and then you're just like, screw it, I'm out of here. I'm going to open my own business. There's a lot of that going on, but maybe, like, if anybody has an understanding of that, it's going to be her. Like, literally, if anyone gets it, it's her, right? And so I feel like you should really give some more thought to what this role could look like, because I feel like we should pitch it somehow. But let me move on to something else. Debate. Oh my God, that debate. I mean, can I just say that I didn't actually really watch the debate because my heart couldn't take it. My mom couldn't watch it. My friends couldn't watch it. My Black women friends are like, I can't look. First of all, I don't want to watch because I can't look at that man's face. I can't see him lying anymore. Like, there's so many people and so this is what I ended up doing. I ended up spending the debate time on social media looking for tweets from people, not watching all the entire speech. Although I did eventually watch the whole speech, but I was like, at the time I couldn't manage the experience. And I'm glad I didn't, because it was disgusting. It was just the debate was disgusting to me. Trump was disgusting. He was
he was
repulsive.
But here's the thing: is that he was actively losing the whole time. Like, I couldn't watch the Biden one because I was like watching democracy literally slip through my fingers as I was watching it. So like I couldn't. But
we were still going to vote for him. But we were still going to vote for him.
I still would have. And I don't treat politics like they have to. Sorry, I can't stop myself. But I don't treat elections like they're my best friend. I want the person who's going to do the best job, and I didn't. Between Trump and Biden, there was no contest. But I was like, I have to watch this. I have to, because I wanted to be there for her, and also I thought she was going to clean up the floor with them, and she was a little nervous in the beginning, and that you could hear.
Can we talk about that?
That she was a little nervous in the beginning.
Can we? Because I love Vice President Harris, but I was a little taken back by her nervousness. I thought because here's what happened. I was not watching. I was listening, so I wasn't seeing her face or his face, and I was hearing things. And I was like, oh my goodness, why? Why she's running for president of the United States? But I mean, she's human. She's human.
She's only been doing it for a month and a half, and a lot.
Okay.
Was writing on this.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, that's fair. Let's move on, because I'm not trying to trash her, because it was amazing. But go ahead.
But the fact that she was nervous, I was like, oh God, okay, no, come on, no, this is what you're known for, woman. Like, come on, you can. And then it's like you could see the moment when it clicked into place. Yeah. And there was nothing flapped on. She was unflappable. She was a flap-free zone. And it just was watching him implode. She was just, the way she was just giving him ammunition and then him just taking the bait and just putting himself further and further into a hole. I was like, I don't know how, I know people will, but I don't know how anybody can look at this performance and not think that she wiped the floor with him.
And I think that I love that. And I always say to people, because they're making fun of Donald Trump, I'm like, listen, the last time we made fun of Donald Trump, the last time people laughed, and I'm not going to say never made fun of him. He was never funny to me. I always thought he could win, always, always, always. But the last time people laughed at him and the media made fun of him, he won. He became president of the United States of America. And I'm very cautious about, highlighting too much of his failures. And I love that you focused on her successes in the debate, because if we can really focus on her success and less on making fun of the horrible, ridiculous thing he said about Haitian people, which is so disgusting, like not focusing on that, because I'm worried that really does derail things, with the people that love him already. They're just like, they're just focusing on the wrong. And I don't think we're going to derail the people that love him, but there are people. No,
I think there's some people that the spell was broken a little. I think that one of the things that I had a hard time with prior to Harris joining the ticket or being elevated on the ticket was just that like all this, it all seemed so bonkers, and like, how is anyone believing this? How is anyone believing this? Like, why am I smarter than everybody? I'm not smarter than everybody. How come I get this and there's 35% of the country that cannot seem to wrap their head around it? And I think there are some people that were just sort of they're just in the world, and there wasn't a good argument for why it doesn't feel right, but I can't figure out a reason why not. And I feel like it was the weird comment that really kind of broke the spell, because there were so many things that they were so obsessed with. And I'm like, how come they're so obsessed with trans people? Like, it's like,
that's always been an obsession. It's unfortunate.
It has always been an obsession.
Let me just, and I will not say who said this to me, but many, many years ago, prior to the pandemic, I was at a business lunch with a person that was working at the time in a public space, in a public role for a public official. And I was, they're sort of, trying to find out what's going on these days. What kinds of opportunities are out there? What are you interested in? And I'm not even going to say what gender this person was, but this person said, I'm really upset about what's happening with the bathrooms.
Oh, the bathroom bill. Well, I mean, that's,
the bathroom. And it was like, we cannot have, trans, whatever they are is what came out of this person's mouth. This impacts our nervous system. We can't have these people. We need male and female bathrooms. I mean, it was like, I'm telling you, Mary, I was in a professional business meeting, and this conversation came out of nowhere. It was not predicated by any single thing. It was like, and I was just like, is this what you're focused on? This is like, and this is the first time. This was actually this is way before like kind of Trump kind of jumped out.
No, it was the bathroom bill. It was Obama was still the president.
My piece was around this was, these people are insane. These people are literally insane. They are sick and insane. And like, I don't know, like I got to get out of here. And I really lost respect for the person I was speaking with. And I thought, I'm not even going to do business here. Like, I'm out of here. So, I mean, I think, it's just kind of one of those unfortunate places, but I do want to mention something that I love about Vice President Harris. And I don't know if you noticed this about her. She has the most piercing eyes. I mean, there's something about the way she looks out of her eyes. Like, I'm like, this amazing leader, she is going to be incredible. She is not going to take anything. She is going to be vicious when she needs to be. She's going to be on point. She's shrewd. She's paying attention. She is locked in. And it's like, when is the last time you've seen a leader like that with those types of eyes, like looking out, like, and she's not going to be afraid. She's going to be up against, Vice President Harris is going to be up against all kinds of male leaders that are going to look at her like she's the one. This is going to happen.
Well,
But
she's already. Well, I mean, to be
I-
fair,
and-
she's already be seen by all of them. They've already seen her. They've already met her.
I get it, but I'm saying it's a whole nother level when you become president of the United States. And there's always been this narrative that a woman can't face that kind of, truth or that kind of adversity or that kind of male thing that's all over the world. I mean, listen, women do not have financial independence anywhere in the world. Okay. We don't fundamentally have it. And so to have this amazing leader, and I'm telling you, I've been looking at her without sound. I've been watching video without sound and looking at her face, and she's remarkable. I mean, she's absolutely remarkable. If anybody's paying attention, you just need to look at her eyes. I mean,
they work both ways too. It's not all just fear, or it's not all just striking fear in the heart. She's also
no. Her eyes are not. I'm not saying that her eyes are looking like scaring people. I'm saying that she has a shrewdness and a tightness and a spark and a locked inness from her eyes that really tells a lot about who she is and where she comes from and her groundedness. I mean, that's why she's the nominee for president of the United States. I mean, she's incredible. And I feel like what I loved about watching her walk up to Trump on stage, when she went to him, and my feeling is that he might have been a little scared. He had to have been scared by looking at her eyes and her face. Like he
didn't look at her. That was one of the things he didn't look at her once.
I know. It was amazing. It's just so amazing, right? I mean, she's got to make it. She's got to make it. And do you think that it's worthwhile to have another debate?
Yeah. I mean,
why? Tell me why. I don't know. I think I'm like
more memes.
Let's not waste time.
I
don't like the memes though. I'm telling you, I don't like the memes because I'm concerned about any type of lightness when it comes to Trump, because he is a dangerous person. And so there's a limit.
The thing though, is that I think that part of the reason I feel like the memes before Harris entered and I'm trying to call her Harris because calling her by her first name.
Harris. I say Vice President Harris.
You've been saying it too. I keep calling her Kamala. But anyway, dumb point. But anyway, I think that I feel like a lot of his the pre-Harris memes were very much based off of like, Cheeto orange, like they weren't very like, there wasn't a lot of substance to them, and he's a very insubstantial man. So it's like, it was all just like, he's evil, like this sort of nebulousness of like, like of him. But it feels like since the memes coming out of this one and just the general like wisdom that's coming out of this is that he's a buffoon, and that he is not a serious person, and that he is losing it, and that he is, and so I think it's so sorry, but I think it's so weird that nobody talks about the assassination attempt. It hasn't come up at all.
Yeah, his ear is whole. It
is so weird, but
there's no broken ear.
It feels like it's making people realize, like, I feel like because she's such a sharp contrast to him versus Biden, who they weren't super far off in terms of a lot of metrics, it really spotlights how unbelievably unfit he is. And so the more opportunities we have to have contrast of these two trying, like, really,
how about Dick Cheney? So here's the thing that I thought, like, I was actually talking to my husband about this. I'm like, why does this carry any weight, or who cares, or, and not only that, but why would Dick Cheney even say, I'm voting for Vice President Harris? And you know what? I think what we decided was he's maybe focused on his legacy, which is fine with me. Like, I just feel like if one of the through lines of a conservative Republican is, you know what, I may not like Democrats, I may not like their policy, but let me just tell you this: I don't want to go down in my family as the first person that didn't vote for a woman and she wins. Like, I want to be on the winner side, which is kind of, in some ways, that was kind of a through line with Obama too, right? With President Obama, where people are like, they want to go with the winner. So I feel like for Cheney, for Cheney, I mean, listen, he has a terrible reputation, and I can't get out of my head that he almost murdered someone on a hunting trip. You know, he shot someone. No. It's like those things don't ever leave my mind. They live in me, rent free, as they like to say on the internet. So I guess for the perspective of like, and I was even telling Grant, I'm like, one of the other things about Dick Cheney Republicans. They really do, and I hate to say they, like, who is they? Well, conservative Republicans,
like Heritage Foundation Republicans
that love Black excellence, like Colin Powell or Condoleezza Rice. Like they're in. I know it sounds weird, you're frowning, but it's like
they tolerate that Black excellence.
And I'm willing to, you can say however you want to say it, but what I'm saying is that is the type of that's the type of Black person that a conservative white person will support. And if Vice President Harris has that gravitas that comes from that type of an environment, that type of a concept, I will take it so that she can become President of the United States of America.
Okay.
And I say that because, Condoleezza Rice and, we went to Iraq because of them. Okay. I mean, really, we
like 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Hillary was part of that. President of First Lady Clinton was part of that too, and I'll never get over that. I'll never forgive it. It's hard for me I can't forget it.
Are you saying that because Clinton voted for the authorization? Yeah, I mean, it's not really fair. Yeah. I mean, I know, but we can't. I know that we can't relive history, but I'm saying they held it against her. But what I'm saying, and I did too, but I still voted for her. But what I'm saying is that. As repulsive as I am by Dick Cheney, and keep in mind, for him to talk about maintaining the sovereignty and democracy of America, this is a guy that they stole the election because of hanging chads. So it's just like none of this stuff adds up. But what I'm saying is, if he can convince conservative Republican white people that love Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice to vote for her, then she will get it. She will win to be President of the United States of America. Mm-hmm. And that leads me to my next question for you, because I'm going to ask you specifically, because no holds barred. Okay, white American women, not white women in the world, white American women. Mm-hmm. I was watching post debate, and they were interviewing, voters that were on the fence. Like, who are you going to vote for? What? On MSNBC. Okay. MSNBC. Oh, okay, so the Kornacki one. And not Kornacki, that like hot little snack that they had.
No. But like, it was right after, and I was like wanting to see like who was going to say what, and there was one white woman who was like, "I'm voting for Vice President. I believe in Vice President Harris." But the other two white women that were asked were saying, "We don't know. We need more information. We're not sure. No, I'm not voting at all." And I was yes, this was right. And it's like I was thrown back into the Trump election, where 55% of white American women voted to support Donald Trump, and he became president. And I was like, what?
I think it was even more than that.
It was probably more.
64%.
I don't think it was that high. I looked this up. It wasn't 64%. Okay. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm like, again, we talk in general about why do people support Trump, especially after what was seen and what was said and what's happened. I want to take it to the next level. Like, what is happening with white American women that there's even a thought of I need to vote for this man over Vice President Harris. I don't get it. Can you help me understand? White woman Mary Nisi.
Well, I do speak for all white women. Just salt of the earth Midwestern lady that, just give
it to me.
I think that, gosh,
I know it's tough, but I can't. I mean, I think there's so much going on, right? I mean, there's just too much against us, and I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I think that the patriarchy is alive and free, and I think that the patriarchy keeps women small and voting against their best interests all the time. And I think that, the whole, I don't want to talk about politics. I think that's a woman thing. I think women tell other women not to talk about politics because if we don't talk about it, we're not able to corroborate stories.
But I want to just say of white, or we need to, I'm asking you a question about white women. I'm not asking you a question about women. That's existential. I'm specifically saying American white women.
I think that, I don't think that I'm not one of them, but I'm obviously not one of them, but I think that a lot of women, and I know this to be true because I live in a very affluent white area. And I can't help myself but to bring up politics. And it's just the conversation's always kind of shut down a little bit. Like they don't want to talk about it. And
so I want you to be clear though. You're talking about, just go ahead and say it. Say white women. Say white women. Don't just say women. Say white women.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I am talking about white women. I'm not talking about black women or any other women. I'm talking about white women. When I'm saying women, I mean white women. I'll try to say white when I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I do think that they vote with, like, women, a lot of them just vote with whatever their husband does. Even in this day and age, if their husband's voting for it, they're voting for it too, or at least they claim they are. I think that low information voters are a huge problem in this country. That's the reason why Trump got elected, was because of low information voters. And talking about politics isn't fun. It's not sexy. So it doesn't get discussed enough. And I don't think that a lot of women realize how much the government actually affects their life. Mm-hmm. And it affects them on things that it doesn't affect them on things that they think it's affecting them on. And it does affect them on things that they don't realize it is. Like when they're like, oh, gas prices. It's like, that has nothing to do with the presidency at all. If that was the case, whatever. Anyway, Ford would have been the greatest president of all time. But they don't talk about it in a way that is meaningful, and they don't realize how much these things actually affect their lives. Also, women, I watched this amazing documentary on women's suffrage. It was a 2-part PBS documentary called The Vote. And oh my God, I truly had no idea the lengths it took to get women the vote. And we have the I don't even know what the percentage of women voters are. Or do women vote in higher numbers than men?
Let's ask Perplexity.
What's the question? If women voted, like, who votes in higher numbers, women or men?
Who votes in higher numbers in
America?
In the USA. Women or men? I think it's actually men. I think I read this recently. Oh, in the United States, according to Perplexity.ai, women consistently vote in higher numbers than men. This trend has been evidenced since the 1980 presidential elections, where women have registered and voted at higher rates than their male counterparts. For example, in the 2020 presidential election, approximately 67% of eligible female voters participated compared to 64% of eligible male voters. The gender gap in voter turnout has been growing, with women showing a greater propensity to vote in each presidential election since 1980. I bet if I broke this down into ethnicity, it would give you a different number.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, my original question was,
I think black women vote in higher numbers than
right. So that was because my question was really focused on white women voters. What's up with them?
So I think what it is that we love our privilege. And if we vote for change, it might change the privilege that we have. And even though things aren't that great, we're afraid that a little bit more might be taken, or something might change. And if I vote for this and the taxes, and then my husband's job's going to disappear, and then my job's disappear, then my life goes differently because my husband's job disappeared or whatever. And I would say that, the thing I always go to, which no one really talks about, and maybe I don't think I'm wrong about it, but when Nixon was president, they created,
before your time.
Yeah. I'm a Ford kid. I was born during Ford. During the Nixon administration, they created, I don't remember which it was, I don't know what, but there was a strategy that was like within the RNC, mm-hmm. to strip the Department of Education because and adding abortion and guns to the platforms because they want to get people to vote on emotions. and they wanted to start dumbing down people. And here we are. We are right now in the fruits of the dumbest electorate that we've ever had. Like the number of college educated men, what acts perplexity that. What's the statistics?
I'm actually what I'm doing right now is in 2020 percentage of white women that voted for Trump. That's what I want to know right now. I'm going to just verify this.
I don't know.
I did
like
this
everyone's
before.
Gotten so stupid. It's like everyone keeps saying like
55%. 50 in the 2022 U.S. presidential election, 55% of white women voted for Donald Trump. This represents a slight increase from 2016 when 52% of white women supported Trump.
Unbelievable. But how many people?
Wow.
But another question though is how many white women voted in each election? Did the number go down? Like were there
that would
less?
Be a different question.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because if it's
it says here's again white women 55% support for Trump contrasted sharply with other female demographic groups. 91% of Black women voted for Biden. 70% of Latina women supported Biden. They didn't say voted; they just put supported for some reason. Despite predictions that suburban women would turn away from Trump, white women largely maintained their support for him compared to 2016. There was a notable education gap among white women voters. White women without college degrees strongly favored Trump. College-age educated white women were more likely to support Biden, though by a smaller margin than expected. White evangelical Protestant women remained a core part of Trump's base, with 84% supporting him. I mean, listen, we're gonna wrap on this. This is gonna be the end because we got to go. But
I know.
It's just we have a lot of work to do, and I want people to not get carried away with this idea that she's so amazing, she trounced him, that she beat him because there's a way that we're made to feel about things to keep the patriarchy in place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. There's a way we're made to feel and we don't realize it when it's happening. Now, I think it's definitely different from women that are Black or culturally Black than it is for white women, American white women. We just have to be vigilant. We have to be careful. I will never forget when I was at a fundraising party in Chicago when President Obama was running his first election. And there were people there, white women were at this event, and they were still disappointed that Hillary was not making it. She wasn't making it. And I remember talking to these women, and these are two older, white women, and this is a really fancy high-end private event, and like this giant high-rise looking over the glistening stars and the shining lights of the Chicago buildings downtown and the amazing lake with the moon reflecting on the water, elegant food and wine and things like that. And I looked at these two women and I said, you really need to realize that women in general are jealous of other women. We do not support other women in general at scale. We don't help other women in the workplace. We talk about women's appearance. We have catfights in Hollywood and in movies and on film and in fashion and everything. Women are against each other. And I said, and furthermore, and this was nothing against Obama. This was just the patriarchy conversation. Women vote for men. We report to men. Men cut our paychecks. We work for men. And human resources are at the end of the line. The boss of human resources is a man. So we're up against a lot of internal conditioning. And you can't first of all give up the fight. You've got to stay focused and realize that we are not there yet. And if we get there, and I think we will, how about this? I believe we can. We have to stay grounded and not get carried away by this boat that got us to Trump, which ended up with overturning Roe versus Wade. Like we can't do it. We can't let it happen. I don't care.
We took democracy for granted.
Yes, and I don't care how great she's going to keep performing. She knows the mission. She understands. People around her understand. But we are so far right now from victory that to devolve into laughing at memes of Trump is a dangerous a dangerous road to go down, and there's precedent that shows that he can still win.
Sure. I mean, my sister sent me a poll. She's like, oh, a new poll came out that had Kamala winning. I'm like, okay, polls mean absolutely nothing to me. Absolutely nothing to me. Because you want to know what? All the polls said that Hillary was going to win. So I don't trust polls. So therefore, you need to, every day, you need to do something.
Yes, do something.
And it might be that day, maybe it is just sharing a funny meme of Trump in his underwear or whatever.
But also, if you share a meme with Trump in his underwear, at the end of that, come back and say, but don't laugh too hard. Come back. You make sure, don't laugh too hard.
One last thing before. Okay, so I'm friends with a lot of conservative people on Facebook that are in the DJ world. In the DJ world that I'm is not like a cool marshmallow world. It's, white guys that DJ weddings in Topeka.
Marshmallow world in the summer.
Different marshmallow. And there was this guy who's kind of a troll, and he always kind of posts edgelord Trumpy things. And he posted a thing where he was like, really explain to me how the capital gains tax or something. It was some dumb thing about it. And it's like, the capital gains tax is never going to affect you. Like, you will never be affected by that. But it was always like, Mike, the economy, blah, blah, blah. And him just like, my eyes are rolling in the back of my head. Then he posts a picture of his new house that he just renovated, and it's beautiful. He's like, I was like, I spent so much time working on this, and that I really wanted to just show around and give a fuck. Like, I just want to show you guys my cool new house. And everyone's like, congrats, bro, it looks beautiful. And I go, gosh, it looks like the last 4 years have been really good for your economy. Because, you sit there and talk about how the economy is awful, but then you post your new mansion-esque house, and he got mad at me. He was like, we don't have to do this here. And I'm like, I'm just congratulating you on how well your business is doing.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yeah.
Like it's the fundamental, challenge around racism, cognitive dissonance. But listen, I love talking to you about this, and we're going to have another conversation because we're getting close, and we're going to use my platform, the Honest Field Guide podcast, to kind of break out of stereotypes and have these honest conversations around this election, because this is the most important election of our lifetime. And I'm about to cry saying that out loud. Like, it's very painful. And that's why I'm just trying to say, like, be positive, but don't forget the pain and suffering that we're in the middle of right now, because we got to just lock it down and stay focused. So, Mary, it's always so much fun talking to you.
Thank you for introducing me to Perplexity. How
we started.
The question is that when your podcast is your podcast going to be on Perplexity? You said there's got to be.
If I type in search, it is on there, because if you type in my name, you'll get it.
There you go.
You will get it, absolutely. So listen, thanks for this awesome conversation, Mary. It's been really wonderful. If you want to find out more about Mary or me, you can go to perplexity.ai or Google or Bing or wherever. Type in our names. Put our name in. You'll get all kinds of stuff, because we're really awesome at our own SEO. We're awesome at our own professional and personal branding. But thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you for having me. Bye.
The Honest Field Guide is produced by the team at Vert Creative, where brand and multi-channel strategies are designed to help you get attention, growth, scale, and keep up with the pace of change. The music on the podcast is written and performed by Utah Carroll. You can find their songs everywhere online to buy or stream. The opinions expressed on the Honest Field Guide are solely those of the hosts and guests.